walked into her house, and that was the last time she was seen alive.
An arrest is made in the 1984 murder of a 12-year-old girl. The suspect lived just 2 miles away.
With the arrest of Steve Pankey for the murder of Janelle Matthews, some of these questions are starting to be answered.
Plus, Governor Polis warns of bad times to come if the state can't bring down its COVID count.
If this trend continues, our hospital capacity will be in jeopardy.
A wildfire scorches hundreds of acres near Fort Carson.
And Littleton asked voters if they'd like to be able to buy weed without leaving town.
The city's missing out on a lot.
Detectives have come and gone. Promising leads went nowhere and the case fell out of the public eye. But Greeley police never stopped looking for the person who murdered 12-year-old Janelle Matthews in 1984.
And tonight they believe they have found him, along with enough evidence to put him away for the rest of his life.
Meanwhile, Jim Matthews says he and his family will keep hanging on to the hope that Janelle is alive and will one day be found. We'll keep hanging on, he says, and will not give up. At first, the family of Janelle Matthews prayed for her safe return.
It was always like a cold case, and sometimes I'd go to Walmart and I would see the age progression photos, and that would kind of like startle you a little bit.
When it became clear that wouldn't happen, they prayed for answers.
I trust this new development helps the Matthews family, their friends, and our community to receive some closure and healing from this horrific crime.
On Tuesday, Greeley police and prosecutors announced the arrest of Steve Pankey on charges of first-degree murder. Police believe he kidnapped Matthews from her home, shot her in the head, and dumped her body in rural Weld County. Her remains went undiscovered until last year.
The discovery of Janelle's remains were significant in the course of this investigation, obviously, but also in leading us in part back to a suspect.
In 1984, Pankey lived just a few miles from the Matthews home. He would later move to Idaho and unsuccessfully run for governor. Rather than lie low, prosecutors say he would often insert himself into the investigation.
There are a number of statements that he has made over the course of time, both to courts, to law enforcement, in unsolicited letters, in which he indicates some very intimate knowledge about the commission of the crime, information that the general public and the media was not privy to.
In 2013, he sent a document to law enforcement about a family trip that was meant to serve as an alibi in Janelle's disappearance. If anything, it only made police more suspicious. Pankey's wife would remember her husband digging in the yard. 2 days later, their car exploded. Pankey promptly sent it to a salvage yard.
The arrest warrant was executed at his home.
Today, DA Michael Rourke said this is a case built not on one recent break, but on decades of mounting evidence and police work.
It's really a matter of these detectives taking all of that information, putting it together, and really doing the follow-up investigation that needed to be done.
And Rourke described the family's reaction upon learning of the arrest as one of genuine relief. Pankey is currently being held in an Idaho jail.
And Park County will announce an update in a cold case from 1974 next week. The coroner's office isn't giving details on the investigation, but the state's database only lists one case that matches that. That's a never-identified man found dead atop a steep hike just off a roadway. And, of course, we'll bring you more details as we get them.
Details of Saturday's deadly shooting in Denver continue to come in at a frustratingly slow pace. Despite multiple requests for information by Denver7, Pinkerton has still not given us the name of the third-party vendor used to hire security guard Matthew Doloff. Pinkerton has also not provided details of its screening process and how someone neither licensed to carry a gun nor work as a security guard could be doing both this past weekend. While we wait for an explanation, frustration is growing among friends of the victim, Lee Keltner.
I'm very sad and I'm very angry about it, you know. I just hope that we can find an ending and to all this and some peace throughout.
As we reported yesterday, Denver7 has used Pinkerton, and Doloff was on duty Friday for our Senate debate between Cory Gardner and John Hickenlooper. We specifically asked that security not be armed. And tonight, 9 News, which employed Doloff to protect a producer during the shooting, says it requested the same.
A Boulder County Sheriff's deputy will be prosecuted on charges of third-degree assault and official misconduct after allegedly using a taser on an inmate. The sheriff's office says deputies were just getting that inmate under control when Sergeant Christopher Mecca drove a stun gun into his thigh. An investigation found his actions crossed the line and Mecca resigned before he could be fired.
Now 3 wildfires giving us trouble tonight. The Wild Horse Fire has burned more than 670 acres near Fort Carson. Around 3 dozen homes have been evacuated and military facilities are not in danger. Meanwhile, the Cameron Peak fire, it's now at 56% containment. That's the good news here. The bad is that the wind is expected to pick up after dark, making for a long night on the fire lines. And the Mullen fire is up to 30% containment. 176,000 acres have burned. 1,200 first responders are working day and night to keep it from doing more damage.
And Colorado's continuing to barrel down the wrong direction with the confirmation of an additional 1,048 cases of the coronavirus tonight. Another 11 deaths have been attributed to the virus as well, and that puts us past 2,000. 385 hospital beds occupied by COVID patients tonight. Our facilities have not been slammed like this since the spring. And Governor Polis said tonight, we have to bring these numbers down fast.
This is a major risk for our health and our economy if it continues this way. And whether it continues this way is in your hands. It depends on the choices we make. We made great choices. We did it right. When we had that July 4th peak, we got it under control, late July, early August. But unfortunately, September, October, it moved the wrong way substantially. We need a change.
The World Health Organization recommends states have a positivity rate below 5%. Colorado is currently exceeding that.
Somewhat ironically, Boulder is actually beginning to ease restrictions on young people. From now on, groups as large as 6 can gather. At the height of CU's problems, 130 cases of coronavirus were reported in a single day. Yesterday, 6 tests came back positive.
What a surprisingly cool career, Cades. How about consider working for CDOT? So today they invited us along as they scaled Bear Creek Canyon and brought down rocks onto Highway 74 between Morrison and Iredale. The spokesperson didn't even seem to pay any mind to the fact that there were boulders coming down behind her during the interview. Take a look.
This actually is a historic scenic byway. It was originally created for the beautiful views and to connect people down in Denver to the Denver mountain parks that are here. So a lot of effort went into making sure that the environmental and historical significance of the canyon was kept intact.
I love that drive. The rock scaling requires full closures between 4:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and the work is going to continue into February.
The city of Littleton may finally go to pot this November. Denver7 political reporter Megan Lopez asked what's taken them so long.
Inside Silver Stem Fine Cannabis in Littleton,
I have maybe a quarter of Silver OG left.
a steady stream of customers.
All right, thank you. Have a good one, Greg. See you soon.
Since becoming the first state to legalize pot in 2012, Colorado has been synonymous with cannabis. But localities have the final say on what can be sold, and in Littleton,
Dispensaries are only allowed to sell medical marijuana.
this dispensary, one of only 3 in the city.
The city's missing out on a lot.
The prohibition isn't unique. A number of other localities also ban retail sales. But this November, Littleton, Lakewood, and Buena Vista will ask voters if it's time to change that. The co-founder of Silver Stem, Stan Zieslis, says he turns away between 50 and 100 would-be retail customers per week.
It's hard, especially, when you're trying to run a business, make payroll.
They did a study of surrounding cities like Sheridan and Inglewood and estimated the change could generate more than $1 million in tax revenue a year.
We already have recreational marijuana here because they bring it back. It's just that the tax revenue is taking a detour around Littleton, and there's really no reason for it.
I just don't think this is the right fit for Littleton.
That's Mayor Jerry Valdez. He's willing to forego the additional tax revenue for the sake of values.
I just don't want Littleton to become that. Again, the medical marijuana serves a purpose for people that have health issues. Recreational is just about getting messed up.
So he's urging a no vote.
What it will bring is there'll be probably people walking in our streets smoking a joint or something.
Even if the ballot questions pass, though, there's still a lot of work to be done to figure out what recreational sales in these 3 areas would look like moving forward. Megan Lopez, Denver7.
No trick, all treat. The surprise of a lifetime right after this break.